wake up, ground, and bulletproof yourself for the day. That is what our sessions are here in the morning. That is why we are coming together at 5:30 a.m. Pacific time, as long as the technology works, which is seeming to do so today. So yay. So welcome to our morning session where we get to enjoy a cup of coffee, fill in our planners, ground, set our minds for the day. Close patio door. So I hope everyone is feeling fantastic no matter what time you're watching this at. I tell you what, I had something happen today where apparently I did not set my alarm and I woke up at 5:05 a.m. And do you know how good that feels to know that you're programming your body? Because this is week 2, almost finishing week 2, so 9 days of going live, which if you're ever setting a goal, you know that it's difficult at the beginning, right? There's a period where it becomes very difficult. It's a little bit chaotic in the middle, but by the time you've achieved the end, it becomes so habit, patterned, and routine that it's something that you start to miss, for one, and it just becomes part of who you are. So for me, we're reshifting that identity of being a night walker, somebody who loves to go out and experience the night, to I'll come up with a good morning kind of nickname for my identity, because that'll help. We always live within our identities, right? So if we believe one thing about ourselves, like morning person versus an evening person, for example, how would you identify? Are you a morning person or a night person? Evidence probably in your life has suggested that you either wake up and pop up and you're like right to it, or you are more alert and on it at night. I find I'm kind of both people. I'm whatever person I am according to the lifestyle that I'm currently living. So I've been a morning person. I've been the night person. I'm for sure probably a night person if I'm not, my brain comes alive, as many do. So here we are. So today we want to talk about the importance of bulletproofing oneself for the day. So what does that actually mean? Why would you want to take the time in the morning knowing that you probably have a crazy, chaotic schedule? You may or may not get up the first time your alarm goes off. You may or may not have kids. You may or may not have a partner. You may or may not have all these, 100 things that you need to do for yourself before you have to get out the door, get to the gym, etc. Well, I feel like the person who inspired me the most with this was Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. Club. In fact, I happened to cycle and listen to that book like 4 times. So this is when I was training for an Ironman. And I would just listen to this book over and over again because I wanted to be a morning person. But I just wasn't, We started, at that time, I was a teacher at school at 6:45 in the morning. So to be on time, I had to leave at least by 6:30. And that got me there on time, right? And so you can only imagine that those kind of mornings were crazy, chaotic. And I was just trying to figure out, like, how do I get a hold of my mornings? How do I get a hold of the fact that I now need to train for an hour each day before I go to school? I used those sessions when I was training to study investment, finance, crypto at the time. But structuring or figuring out how to structure the morning and then go more grounded into the day, it was a whole thing. And then especially when I got into, when I became an entrepreneur and I was just, trying to figure out how to keep myself structured and routine, it became even more important, for sure. So here we are, the importance of mornings. Because why? Because have you ever noticed that if you get up, I think this is an example that gets used fairly often. You get up, you stub your toe, and then the next thing you know, everything is kind of downhill from there. It's, oh, okay, now it's the toe, and then the toothpaste is out. This was on the movie The Secret that I watched probably like 35 times in my life. If you have not watched it, definitely should. It was the movie that set the tone of making vision boards and really going out, asking, believing, receiving, being prepared to receive exactly what future and vision that you want to do. Is a great book. But the idea is that, you start a day off, you put out this energy, and then everything seems to be bad from there. It's like, so you're late in traffic, your coffee spills, people are mean, whatever it is, it's just this downhill effect. But if you start your day and you give yourself just a little bit of time to center, to be able to ground, to come into and bulletproof and prepare, so that as you walk through your day, other people's energy, things that happen, you're whole and you're full. And so it just feels different, right? You don't feel like reacting. You can see the humor in someone's stupidity, or, in someone's misjudgment in the time. I don't know a better way to say it, right? So we're getting spammed again. Oh, that's the thing. So anyway, I'm still new to this whole streaming thing. So in hospital sprinkler, you're gonna have to say no, thank you. So yeah, so you're bulletproofing yourself, or you can see the humor in getting spammed, for example. So the idea is that when you're, and you got to give out that energy too. So the idea is that when you're going through your day, when you take the time to come to yourself, to realign with your vision, to make sure that you are in a state of feeling good, right? That's really what it comes down to, is that we want to go through our lives in a state of feeling good. Which, what does it take to actually feel good? It means that you're getting enough sleep, you're drinking a lot of water, you're eating the right amount of food, you're moving your body, and you're connecting with people around you. You have purpose, right? You're able to have a vision that's bigger than where you currently are, to help pull you into your future versus drag you through it. That's really, at the end of the day, the secret to happiness in a nutshell, is just taking care of yourself, feeling good, because then everything that we encounter throughout the day feels different, right? Now we feel good. Now we find things funny. Now we're vibrating differently, and our attraction point is different. We're putting energy out there that we want to bring back to us. And so if our energy is positive, what are we going to do? Probably bring positive energy back to us. If our energy is positive, what's going to repel? Negative energy. Why? Because it's not going to feel good. We're not going to want to commiserate with misery when we're, up here as the best versions of ourselves, just like feeling like we're thriving and on top of life, which I, for a very long period of time, did not actually understand the concept and what it feels like to thrive. And then now I have so many more moments in my life all of the time where I'm like, this is thriving. And why? Because I pay a lot more attention to how I feel, making sure that I'm able to dial into the best version, most highest vibrational version of myself. And then I walk through the world. And when we do that, and we're able to intentionally elevate our vibration and our energy and how we show up, everything is different. And so until we develop that level of consciousness or awareness around the people or things that lower our vibration, right? We don't want to be around negative people. Negative people are negative. I can't say that I've always been the most positive person, though I typically am more positive than not. And I feel bad for those people, because I probably was a drain in their bucket, we'll call it. And that just happens. Energy vampires, as people say, right? Nobody loves that. So we don't want to be that, because we don't love it. So why would we want to be that? Well, in order to make sure that we are able to endure and experience on a day-to-day basis the things that could be quite stressful, right? If you're being pulled in 1,000 directions, do you think that that feels good? Not necessarily. It could, depending on your personality and your job or your role, right? There could be justification for it. But if you take just 10 minutes, so this is Robin Sharma has a 20-20-20, right? And that's more or less integrated into, this 20 minutes or 15, 20 minutes of grounding, journaling, processing, crafting a future, right? Because then when we're centered and we put on that shield of armor, as in we've also moved our bodies and worked out, right? 20 minutes of sweaty exercise is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. It creates a cocktail of feel-good chemicals that if you ground and center now and then go on to move your body, or move your body before the session, and then come to this session, how different would your days be really, right? Now you're feeling good, you've gotten your body moving, you're sweating. Maybe you do the another quick formula for that. Hop in a cold plunge. I'm looking at one right now, right? So that is such a way to increase your dopamine by 250%. Think you're not going to show up differently in your day if you're taking the time to be super mindful to optimize your experience? So morning sessions of grounding before everyone else wakes up. If you have a family, before your family wakes up, getting up even earlier, finding a way to go to sleep. Maybe you're skipping that show, you're putting down the book, you're whatever it is, that social media, right? In today's world, the things that we experience, especially email, Slacks, our WhatsApp messages, if we don't take a little bit of time before we open those and actually go for a walk, right? There's this idea, I listened to it on Dr. Huberman Lab. It's a really big word called forward ambulation. And basically all it means is when you walk forward, not on a treadmill, but actually are walking and life is passing you by, it's doing something to your amygdala, which is essentially what fires when we experience stress, right? It's part of the limbic system, our emotional response system, and it's responsible for the fight, flight, or freeze, right? So when we go for a walk, just a walk in the morning, it's like exercising that to be able to help us for the rest of the day, be able to experience stress differently. So a simple walk, again, moving the body, right? And then you get the sunlight from being out in the sun, depending on where you are in the world. Note that does change. That's what I loved about Qatar. Man, you go outside, and now Vegas, and there's sun at I don't even have to go outside necessarily. Sit on the balcony or go for a walk or just look outside. And it feels very different than, say, Les, Oregon, but it rains in Oregon. It's also why it's so beautiful and green. However, it rains in Oregon. And I didn't know until going back to Oregon how depressing it actually made me feel, because I was so used to being in brighter environments. So also something to be mindful of. So when you take that time in the morning, you're literally putting on a coat of armor to protect your energy and to ground. So if you are to check your phone very first thing and those messages, how are you experiencing that? As if your body saw a tiger before you're ready for it, right? Now, obviously out in nature, you can't be like, hang on, tiger, I'm going to go over here and put my, my bulletproof, my vest so you can't attack me and eat me. But we can technically do that with our phones. We can say, hold on, phone, I'm actually just going to turn you off and maybe turn on some Jim Rohn audios, or maybe you are dialing in now to my lives because you enjoy being able to be reminded of the importance of doing these things. Because even though I've been studying this for like a decade almost now, we need reminded, right? Repetition is the mother of learning, so we constantly need to have that in our brain. So if we start our day with an audio, we wake up, we turn on an audio. Yeah, okay, maybe we've got kids that are kind of running around, we got to do some things for them, or maybe we get up before them and you put it in, you set your mind, you do the few things that you need to do, you sit down here with us, we have a quick chat, or you're just listening to this while you're moving, and then you go to your journal, and then in your Empowered Day Planner, or even if you don't have one of this is just a tool, right? This is a tool where you can review your morning routines, your evening routines. It's a checklist. Love a good checklist, especially when we're developing behaviors, right? We like to see progress, and so checking off that we did the thing that we said we were going to, right? What is discipline? Doing the thing that you say you're going to. You've meditated, you're visualizing your success, you're elevating, right? Quantum physics, all the realm of the quantum, shortening the time between where you want your future version of yourself. seeing and believing yourself into that reality by just being mindful and taking the time, going over what you're grateful for, affirming within yourself, identifying the beliefs that are holding you back and the ones you need to develop, all of that, right? It's just a few minutes in the morning can be so profound. And you don't have to fill the whole planner out. You can have a journal. You can sit down and write for a minute. You don't even need the journal. There's so many audios on YouTube that you can go on and just press play and listen and ground and center. You can have a completely bustling morning, but just put some music on in the background, right? Music changes the state of the body. So if you just pop in a little earpiece and you're moving around and you have that calm music playing, are you going to feel chaotic? What are the chances it decreases the chaos and increases the calm? It's higher than not, I assure you. So that being said, this is our time for today. Thank you for joining me. If you got through here, honestly, give it a like, a thumbs up, and then put a little timer in your phone so that you can come back to this each morning so that you can get your daily dose of inspiration. And then when we part, spend some time with that journal, right? Just a few minutes, sit down, maybe put on some music and just visualize. I can run some of these sessions in the morning, no problem. But for now, farewell. And remember, your life, your journey, your choice. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life you imagine. Have a good day.